Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tiara and I am the owner of Black Teacup. In this week's video, I'll be showing you guys how I created this matte safari animal print tumbler. So we have our zebra, giraffe, cheetah, snake print, and leopard print. I created this using 651 permanent vinyl and some glitter. So, of course, everything that I used to create this tumbler will be linked down in my description box below. If you're following my social media, you probably know that I just finished up my largest order to date, which was 59 tumblers. I did document that process and I will be uploading a video next week and revealing those tumblers. I did learn so much throughout that process and I'm happy to share with you guys some tips and tricks. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also hit that like button. It really does help me out. And as always, thanks for watching and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so I have already base painted my 20-ounce tumbler. I sanded it, wiped it down, and base painted it with a matte white spray paint. So right here, what you're looking at is how I'm getting my template started. I'm taking this painter's tape, the 1.5 inch plus this 1/4 inch, and I'm just alternating just to see and lay out and make sure I have equal spacing. Once I see that everything lines up perfectly, what I'm going to do is remove one piece of tape at a time and then go back through with a full piece all the way around. So I just did this initially just to make sure everything will line up how I want it to line up. So right here, I'm going to remove that very top piece and I'm going to get another piece of painter's tape and wrap it all the way around this time. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the green and then the next piece of blue tape and then the same thing with the green. And you'll just repeat until your entire tumbler is wrapped with tape. And you will just repeat this process all the way down. And again, I did this way so that I can make sure that everything lines up perfectly. I would have hated to start wrapping my tumbler in the beginning all the way around just to get to the end and it doesn't line up the way I want it to line up or the spaces are not equal. So that's why I started out with the small pieces first. I did not tape this bottom section because that's what I'm going to start with first. Is no point in putting the tape on and taking it right back off. So we're going to take some Mod Podge here and also some acrylic paint to dye our Mod Podge. And what I'm going to do is alternate sections between white and gold. So we're going to use the white Mod Podge for one section and then we're going to use tinted Mod Podge for the gold sections. So you will just mix your paint in with your Mod Podge thoroughly and then you'll just paint it right on that tumbler. That will act as a tinted adhesive for our glitter so that we have better coverage. So both my top section and my bottom section of the cup are going to be gold, which is why I didn't tape up the bottom of the cup. You can start on either end, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you're going to go ahead and make nice smooth layers of that Mod Podge and gold acrylic paint around your tumbler. You don't want any like clumping or piles of Mod Podge because it will show with the glitter. So make sure it's nice and smooth. For the glitters, we'll be using Champagne by Last Stop Will Be and Chantley by Peachy Olive. So once you have your Mod Podge spread evenly all the way around, go ahead and apply your glitter using a piece of paper or parchment paper to catch the excess. And then you want to make sure you tap off any excess glitter with whatever you have nearby, maybe some scissors. Just tap the edge or the rim of your tumbler and that'll knock off the excess glitter. And since we already have our Mod Podge and gold paint mix, we're going to just go ahead and do all of the gold layers, which is every other section. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same process to these next two sections with the gold Mod Podge. And then I'm going to apply my glitter, knock off the excess. We're going to let that dry. So I let my cup dry for about 20 to 30 minutes before moving on to doing the two white sections or beige off white. And I'm doing this the same way except we're using the plain white Mod Podge and then applying the Chantley glitter. I'm going to apply this to both of those white sections, let my cup dry for about 30 minutes, and we're going to go right back in with a second layer of glitter for all of the sections. So I pretty much just repeated that same process. I went back in with just plain white Mod Podge on all of the sections on top of this dried glitter. I did not use the tinted Mod Podge the second go round. So you'll just go back in one section at a time and add your glitter a second layer, let that dry, and then we'll remove the tape. And you guys, whenever you're laying tape and glittering over it, it's very important to leave like a little folded flap so it doesn't get lost. I almost lost a piece right here, but we got it. So here's our cup all glittered. So now we're going to apply some clear acrylic spray paint to it just to hold our glitter in place before we apply epoxy. And I applied about 2 coats of this semi-gloss spray paint. I let it dry completely and then we went in for epoxy. So here I am applying my first layer of epoxy. I let this cure and then I went right back in with a second layer. My glitter did not move at all, so that means we did a great job with the clear spray paint holding the glitter in place. So let your cup cure, add a second layer if needed, and then we'll take it out for sanding. You just want to make sure everything's nice and smooth. It should be smooth anyway since we're using a fine glitter, but just smooth out your tumbler and add another layer of epoxy if needed. So sometimes we have tumblers that we're making and we get these lips on them, and that means that your tumbler was not level. And that's happened to me. I think it's happened to all of us. So the way I fix this is using my rotary sander. And as you can see here, I'm just going all the way around that hump that was on my cup until it's smooth and even with the rest of the cup. I have my setting probably on like a 3 or a 4 on my rotary sander. And it just really helps with smoothing out that process, and it goes much quicker. Now, if you don't have a rotary sander, you can use sanding paper or a sanding block and just sand your tumbler until it's smooth. Sand off that excess epoxy. Once everything is nice and smooth how I want it, I'm going to go ahead and go back with my rotary sander to expose that very thin line of stainless steel along the rim of the cup. I got this tip from Jessica Flynn, and it has been a game changer for me. I absolutely do this with every cup now. Once you have everything nice and sanded and smooth how you want it to be, I wipe my tumbler down with some alcohol, and then I wash it in the sink with some soap and water. All right, y'all. So my tumbler is sanded and smooth. So now we're going to cut out decals. I just found this roller brush on Amazon, and it really helps with laying that vinyl down. I will link that down below as well. And I'm going to cut this out with my Silhouette Cameo. Here is the clip art for the animal skins I found. Vanillo FFNA is the shop on Etsy. I will have that link down below as well. And what I decided to do was cut out each animal print on 651 black vinyl. All right, so what I'm doing here is taking a long piece of transfer tape, and what I'm going to do is transfer each section from my paper to my tumbler. So first we're doing the zebra spots, and then the giraffe, and then the cheetah, and then the snake skin print, and then finally the leopard print. So just take your time and wrap it around each section. Don't worry about it overlapping into the little white sections, the in-between section, because we're going to put a border of vinyl around that to cover that up. So you'll keep wrapping your vinyl around and rubbing as you go to try to like rub out any air bubbles. You don't want your vinyl to crinkle. You want to try to keep it as straight as possible. So just take your time and work the vinyl all the way around. And where the vinyl meets the other end, if it meets like in a weird spot, you can just take your X-Acto knife and cut it the way you want it to be. So next we're taking our cheetah spots, and you guys, this was pretty easy. The only thing you really need to worry about is the air bubbles. So you just take it, line it up before you press it all the way down, and just rub as you go to make sure everything's nice and adhered. And just keep it moving to the next section. And as you can see, like the giraffe spot, it kind of looks weird, but I'll go back through with my X-Acto knife and chop off the excess. And here I am laying down the snake print. That did kind of meet up weird, but I made it how I wanted it with my X-Acto knife. And then finally our cheetah prints. So here's what I was referring to earlier when I said you can take an X-Acto knife and trim like where the seams meet. I found this really cool knife set on Amazon. It has different blades, and I will link it down below. But you can pretty much cut your design how you want it to, where you see where it meets. And when you're happy with it, we'll move on to epoxy. I did not seal my decals. I went straight in with epoxy the next morning. If you want to seal, you can definitely do that with the epoxy method or with some clear acrylic spray paint. My decals did not peel up or anything. I did let them sit overnight. So after this is done spinning, I'm going to go back in with another layer of epoxy. Hopefully this will be our final layer of epoxy if everything is nice and smooth. And then we'll move on to the matte process. So we let this cup spin and finish curing for a couple of days. And then next we're going to make it matte. So most of you know I just got done with a large order of 59 tumblers. During that process, I did learn some things, and I found some things to make our lives a little bit easier. I've done a matte tumbler tutorial before, but I did not use a drill. So I found these cool attachments. I will link the video down below for the attachments from Harbor Freight, and I can attach my cup to a drill now. So this makes it way easier for the matte process. I have my steel wool and some final sand here. And this is my first time doing this without having a scrub and my arms getting tired. And guys, this works so quick. I think I made the tumbler matte in probably 60 seconds. So here I put some of the final sand on the steel wool. And I'm just going to get a little bit of water and just go to town with the drill. I'm not doing much work. I'm just pressing the button and rubbing my hand back and forth. And that is pretty much it, y'all. So here is the final tumbler, my matte animal print tumbler. If you guys like this or if you try it, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.